show in Lusaka. And well, you who's joining us or listening to us from wherever you be, this will be so interesting because this is happening at the Ministry of Community Development and Social Services. And well, you and I both know that this ministry plays a lot more when we speak of your social cash transfer. Well, when we speak of the aged in the community, children's welfare, children's well-being, it definitely speaks to all that. Let's get straight into it. My name is Victor Mwanza. For the next 15 minutes or so, I will be chatting with some individuals who give us insights as far as what this ministry has achieved in this time. Well, let me get straight to one of them, who's a lady on the set. Ma'am, welcome to this conversation. Kindly tell us your name and what exactly you do in this ministry.
Thank you very much. My name is Pumulo Mondale Moyo, and I'm the Registrar for NGOs.
Awesome. Ma'am, before I come to you, sir, don't worry. I will definitely come to you. Ma'am, Registrar in this ministry. Let's get to first how, under your department, the adaptation to climate change theme for this year's Agriculture and Commercial Show. How has your department interpreted this year's theme?
Okay, so I'll speak to a particular component that we work on in the department. And this is to do with the protection of the NGO sector against terrorist financing. Zambia, as a member of the Eastern and Southern African Anti-Money Laundering Group, has an obligation to protect NGOs against terrorist financing. Now, climate change has a tendency to exacerbate existing vulnerabilities. When there are floods, when there's drought, it increases poverty and other vulnerabilities. So terrorists would then be looking to bring in money as a form of helping people who are suffering during these climate change events. So our responsibility as a department is to protect the NGOs from that sort of financing, which of course would spill over to the communities. Now, I must mention that according to the terrorist financing risk assessment that we, in the NGO sector, that we conducted as a country, the risk of terrorist financing to the NGO sector in Zambia is low. So we're looking to maintain it at low, if not to eradicate the risk altogether. So that is how, so in order now to get us closer to the people and the NGOs, we have put in place now an online NGO registration and information management system. So we'll be able to know in real time where NGOs are, what they have registered to do, where they are getting their funding from, where they are implementing, who their beneficiaries are, so that we are able to track whether there's any form of terrorist financing risk in the areas that they're operating and protect the NPO themselves and in the process protect the communities.
Awesome. Now, in your preamble, you've mentioned there's a word that I caught apart from terrorism, money laundering. There's quite a lot of NGOs that are mushrooming out there, and I want you to speak to a would-be suspect or somebody who's thinking, well, I can use an NGO to launder money in Zambia because they don't focus on this. And this is what you definitely zero into. Speak to such kind of an individual.
Such kind of an individual, the department works with the Financial Intelligence Center and also the National Anti-Terrorism Center. So where we suspect, or any other government institution suspects that the person applying to open an NGO is intending to use it for terrorist purposes, the security units, including the law enforcement agencies, would come into play. So at the point of registration of an NGO, we would want to know where your funding is coming from. We would want to know who your office bearers are in your organization. And those office bearers must be cleared by the security wings in the country. So we would have a lot of information about the people registering to open an NGO at this point. And if at all there is any suspicion, the law enforcement agencies would catch up with such an individual.
Awesome. Now, sir, let me turn my attention to you. I mentioned I was coming to you. In my background conversation, I heard you deal with children. Let me find out what exactly is this department. Tell us your name and what this department is.
Okay, my name is Joshua Kamanya. I'm director responsible for child development in the Ministry of Community Development and Social Services. Our department is actually responsible for the protection and the promotion of children's rights. Yes, so there are rights that children enjoy, like the right to education, the right to food, the right to shelter, the right to protection. You know that children have to be protected. Yes, so all these are the rights that children have to enjoy. Even even things to do with the playing. Children must be treated as children, and they should have time to play. They should enjoy their time, their childhood. So that's what we basically do.
Okay, mine is I'm speaking to. There are callers on our platform. Literally, women will come through. In the recent past, not so long ago, cases of child defilement have definitely come. They're rampage like wildfire. Well, you find that a child in Choma just some few days ago was abused and the perpetrator was arrested. But women have pondered upon saying we should have stiffer punishments for these people. What exactly is your department doing to put an ear to such kind of women who are crying out loud and making sure that we stop this vice?
Okay, what the ministry has done, I think I can talk of 2 milestones. In 2022, the ministry came up with a Children's Code Act. Yeah, so that is what guides how we operate and how Zambians can actually look after the children. And there are also issues that educate people on how to bring up the children. We want to think that, first of all, to mitigate some of the effects that children experience or face, people need to be knowledgeable. They need to be educated so that the perpetrators cannot go into those things. Some people do these things because they are not just knowledgeable. Then we also have the National Child Safeguarding Policy on how children have to be looked after. Wherever children are found, whether it is in school, how children should be treated, and how children should actually be looked after, say, when they are at places like churches. And also on the road, some people are so harsh even when they are driving. They don't care whether a child is crossing or not. So we are appealing to Zambians, can we take care of our children? My child is your child, is our child. So the responsibility to look after children lies with all of us. It's a collective effort. It's not just your effort. You can't just love your child alone. Everyone has to protect, and this is what we are calling. In fact, what we are doing, we are actually advocating for children's rights, so much so that some of these vices that we are seeing today can actually end. Because you see, when a child is defiled, it means that that child has a permanent scar.
Definitely.
Yes, that child can be cancelled, but it will remain. We want these children to be educated. We are talking of climate change. We want these children to be educated to understand what the climate change does. It actually affects them. When we are talking of climate change in Zambia, it is actually twofold: drought and floods. These are some of the things that we've experienced. And we've seen children being thrown out in terms of school. They cannot go to school because bridges have been washed away. Their schools have been, the roofs have been blown off. That's right, yes. And also health centers have been blown off and all that kind of things. And we've seen stuntedness because where there are floods, where there are, where there's a drought, there's no food. So in terms of stuntedness, the problem of stuntedness in Zambia is about 45% among the children. So it's actually a myriad of vulnerability that children actually face. So what we need is more advocacy on the well-being of the children. Yeah.
Now, if you were to speak of rights of children, there are other people who see a loophole, and this is using perhaps an orphanage, an NGO that they'll register in the name of protecting children. And that's where your department comes in, ma'am. Now, to such kind of an individual who wants to use the name of a child in the name of protecting children, but they're using it for different vices. And if there is any suspicion of such nature, how can this community or this person listening to us or watching us right now come through to your department and report this?
Okay, so where there is any suspicion that an NGO or an orphanage is doing sinister things under the guise of running an NGO or an orphanage, they are at liberty to not only report to the police or any other law enforcement agency, but they can also come to the ministry and report to us. They can contact us via email, via phone call. All our information is available on the website. And we are open to come and do an inspection, and together with the departments responsible for instance, with dealing with child matters, we will do a joint operation together with law enforcement agencies to come and make sure that that what is being reported is correct, and if it is correct, the law will take its course.
Yeah, just to add on what my sister said, we also have toll-free line 116 and also 99933. When members of the community notice that a child is actually being abused or neglected or something sinister is happening, they are free to call that line and report. That is if the police services are far from where they stay. Yes, so we have all those lines so that our children are actually protected.
Thank you very much. Now, you who's watching us and listening to us right now, you might have picked one or two from here. Maybe you've witnessed or you've seen this happening in your community. This ministry is definitely there to safeguard your life, your children's life, and the well-being of the entire society. We're still here at the Ministry of Community Development and Social Services. We're still having a conversation with the people that matter, people who bring to you information that will change the way you look at society. Stay tuned for more. Now, I'm with, again, two senior individuals at this ministry who are also going to give us an insight of some of the things that happens at the ministry. Mr. Ngoy, welcome to this conversation. Kindly take me through what department do you run at the Ministry of Community Social Development?
Thank you very much. I am Director, Department of Community Development. What we do in community development is to change mindset for the poor and vulnerable, from looking at themselves as victims or as non-entities, to develop them into feeling that they have something to do to transform their livelihood, take care of their children, and also take care of the environment. They are through programming. Yes.
Awesome. Now, let's dive a little bit deeper into the word changing the mindset. We always have this self-pity. What exactly is your word to that person who feels that way? Are they welcome to come through to you, walk into your office and say, I need such kind of change in my life?
They don't need to come to the office, but our community development workers are dotted throughout Zambia, in the district, even sub-district levels. They go into communities, do needs assessment for the people, the poor and vulnerable. They chart their way forward. There are people who feel they cannot participate even in those meetings. Through this word that is going to everyone else, they should encourage those people to attend meetings so that they meet these officers that are well trained in mindset change. The people will develop the attitude of I can do, instead of looking at themselves as completely vulnerable. They need help.
It's just like this.
That
mindset has to be changed. So you're telling us that there are people out there who are in the communities, in the district, who are going to help this individual change their mind.
That is right. Government has employed over 1,000 change agents who are in places that are called sub-centers and dotted throughout the constituencies and throughout the districts. Awesome. They are there to do that.
Well, if you have been feeling self-pity of late and you think, if we're poor, there's nothing we can do. Well, the agencies are out there and they're looking for you. So if you need more information, we'll definitely give it to you right here. Now, Mr. Mono, welcome to this conversation. And how's the showground so far?
So far, so good. I've seen quite interesting things. When you are doing your stuff, you don't realize there are others who are doing quite a number of things. So quite interesting.
Awesome. Now, Mr. Mono, quickly, under the ministry, which department are you running and what exactly do you do in that department?
So I'm acting director for social welfare, and under social welfare we have quite a number of programs that we are implementing. The first program that we are implementing is, of course, the social cash transfer program, which people really know us, where we make cash disbursements to vulnerable persons. And also we are also running programs under the disability desk. We also have prison welfare. We deal with the marriage counseling. We do the same adoption because it's our officers who go to court. We also protect children during the judicial processes, those that are in conflict with the law, and also children that are in need. We are the ones that are going to get the court orders to place them in places of safety where their interests are going to be protected.
Awesome. Now, Mr. Mono, your office seems like it is the carrier of the entire ministry here, I must make mention. I want to zero in on the elephant in the room, social cash transfer. And I want you to speak to the most vulnerable out there, the older people who perhaps they've gotten paid from you as a ministry. Then somebody who wants to be clever calls in saying, "Impia shaba landa nashifuma, impia shaba kote nashifuma." What word do you have to, number one, the aged who are receiving social cash transfer, and this person who wants ukulila bana kulubali abale pokelele indalame?
Thank you. I think that is a very important question of morality regarding the aged persons and the vulnerable persons that we deal with. So first, to our clients, this money that we are giving you is your money. And even when we say if you are getting 800 by monthly, or you are getting 1,200 because there is a person with a disability in your household, it must be that amount. There shouldn't be any person who comes to say, from this money, please give me this thing. No. That money is meant for you because we identified the vulnerability that you have. We want you to live a dignified life. We don't want people to be begging. The government wants people to be helped. So that is your money. Ignore those, reports them to actually police, even to our offices. If you are in rural areas, as we are working with the CWAC members, you know them. They are within your communities. Report them so that we are able to handle that. And also at our level here in Lusaka, we are working with ZICTA so that those numbers that are sending those messages are traced and punitive and corrective action is taken so that we stop playing with the emotions of the elderly persons. We have people like who are chronic disabilities. There are also those who are ill on palliative care. You know, those are very helpless conditions. And then you want to, extract something from the entitlement for such a person. What kind of a blessing would you expect from above? So let's have that morality, the empathy, so that the lives of persons who are suffering are helped. So let's ensure that all this money, including the community at large, let's help one another to protect these monies for these vulnerable persons.
Awesome. Now, I want to come back to you, Mr. Ngoy. We recently had the trade fair, and one of your staffers mentioned something that triggered my mind. And just the other day I was thinking about it, saying we actually help if somebody has got a piece of land. They feel, they are helpless. They can't do anything. They can't go anywhere. They can come through to the ministry, and the ministry will be able to help with probably inputs. But I want you to speak to that mother who's taking care of a number of children, and they feel we're just going to be living on hands out. But they can actually do something with the land that they have somewhere. What exactly do you have? Because this is mindset that is supposed to be changed. What exactly can you tell this particular family or woman that is raising these children?
They should come to the Office of Community Development near them, in the districts or in the sub-centers where they are, and interact with our officers. They will pass them through this. For those who need input, are given fertilizer, sorghum, rice, groundnuts, whatever they will need, they will be given. They are given even they are even taught how to maximize productivity. The idea is that we shouldn't have hunger. We look at this child. If malnourished now, the brain has been damaged. They have failed the IAEO of the school, even before getting into school system. So that is what we are preventing, so that the chain of poverty can be curtailed. The child should be well nourished, and community development provides that. Other than that, the women, those poor women who think they can't do, let them go to the sub-center officer, community development assistant, who put them in the groups where there will be either learning groups or action groups. Action in the sense that they solve their own problems. Learning in the sense that they learn what they require for them to perform. So that one is there as the Women Empowerment Program. We have also supporting women livelihood. This is a donor funded by the World Bank. It gives training and startup capital, and also mentorship, and encourage these people to have savings, so that even when they graduate from there, they still have their money and continue with that. The ministry also provides literacy lessons. We know that people are, when they look at the written word, some of them can't get anything. So they are taught how to read and write. And I encourage now to go through skills training. If they want to go through the panacea of Ministry of Education, they get into open learning centers of the Ministry of Education. Our vision is that this person, this woman who started from a literate class, goes to Zambia Open University after taking GCE, and graduate even as a professor. That is the panacea. That is what we want to see a person into.
Definitely. Well, Mr. Ngoy has put it very well. If you need to just learn even how to read, understand certain things, for you to transact, for you to do the day-to-day activities with others, the ministry is definitely doing that. Now, Mr. Mono, wrap it up for us. I want you to speak to a family that has an elderly man, an elderly woman, because you've mentioned home of the aged in your department. Speak to such a family who has neglected such kind of a man. What is the lay-down procedure for a man who has been neglected in the community perhaps? Or maybe at a house they're not taking care of this man. What exactly is supposed to be done in your department?
Thank you so much. First of all, aging is a process. And all of us, when you go to hospital, you are seeking medication, is because you want to grow old. So let's ensure that we set a good standard on how we are going to care for the aged persons. Now, for those that have been neglected, first of all, I want to indicate that institutional care, taking them to old people's home, is a measure of the last resort on our part. We want people to grow up in their children, even the older persons. They must be cared within family environments. That is the best place where they will get the best emotional support and material support. But where it is beyond what can be done, these people can be taken to an old people's home. The government is running already 2 old people's home. We have one in Livingston, Maramba Old People's Home, and we also have Chiboria Old People's Home in Mufrira. There are also others that are being run by partners like Mitanda. We have another one in Mwandi in the Western Province. So what needs to be done? Our officers can write a social welfare report to the social welfare, so that we generate a report detailing the circumstances of that particular individual. Then we'll get space in one of our institutions that I've already mentioned, even including those that are run by our partners. Then once that is done, we'll apply there so that the admissions committee in those respective homes or targeted homes, they will do the processes so that they take care of them. But for those where at the beginning we didn't know that there was somebody, and somebody has been found who is ready to receive them, we are ready to facilitate a reintegration process, so that we'll do family mediation, so that we talk to the family that are going to receive them, and also talk to the concerned order person, so that we help them mediate and ensure that they are indeed ready to support, including ourselves, to see what exactly that we can be able to offer beyond the reintegration period. Yes.
Well, thank you very much. Well, you've heard it for yourself. If you've seen such in your community, the very best to do is walk into the Ministry of Community Development and Social Services. Well, if you have suspected anything, a child is being abused, well, there is youth thinking or feeling we can't do anything about it. The ministry is definitely there to do something about it. My name is Victor Mwanza at the 97th Agriculture and Commercial Show in Lusaka. It's good afternoon.